Hello and welcome to the Free Cheese episode 636. I'm your Joe Dix, joined by Matt Selner.
Hello.
The Free Cheese is a weekly video game podcast about video games brought to you once a week by thefreecheese.com. This week, we're talking Suikoden, the PlayStation 1 Japanese RPG. If this is your first time at the Free Cheese podcast, every episode, just about, we talk about a single video game, our experience playing through it, and then we rank it on a list called The List. You can find The List at thefreecheese.com/the list, where we've now got 162 video games ranked and ordered in an official capacity.
Yep.
So they say. Before we dive into Suikoden, Matt, what is your favorite short JRPG?
Short.
Yeah. Besides Suikoden, obviously.
Short. It's not JRPG, but it fits it tremendously. I want to say South Park.
I think what they did with South Park: The Stick of Truth fits JRPG in the same way that, there's other games that aren't necessarily Japanese, but they fit the style and aesthetic of JRPGs. South Park is the first one I can think of.
Parasite Eve.
Yeah, all right, never mind. You're right. Also, how is South Park? We talked about the science of the list, right?
Yeah. Yep. Hence why I laughed.
Parasite Eve number 39.
Yep.
South Park: The Fractured But Whole number 11.
Yep.
That's what you get when you listen to the Free Cheese podcast. If you expected anything else, anything close to normal in terms of logical thinking when it comes to ranking video games, throw it all out.
I just came up with an idea.
Uh-oh.
I gotta write it down. It's gold. I gotta put.
Oh, you write it down.
I gotta put underneath 3 games I have for season 15 already.
You started before I did?
Yeah, dude.
Wow. I have a mental list of something for season 15.
I got 3 things.
I'm sorry. I have one game where I was like, all right, we got to do this. But I was also thinking maybe we could squeeze it in next year somewhere. But all right. I see.
I also have one 2026 prediction already. I'm ahead of the curve here.
You're really flying.
Like,
whew.
Ready. Like, the paragraph is ready.
Man. When Matt says season 15, folks, he's talking about 2027. He's not talking about our season 14 is already locked. We already know between the two of us what we're doing all next year. Season 15 is 2027. I guess technically I have a season 15 game for 2027 because I think maybe that we'll get to that in 2 years. But I don't have it. I'm impressed. All right, Suikoden. That's today's episode. Suikoden, developed by Konami, published by Konami, released on the PlayStation December 23rd, 1996 in North America. I will call out the Japanese release date. We don't usually do that, but I will say December 15th, 1995, and I'll say it because that means that this year, in just a couple of weeks, is Suikoden's official 30th anniversary. The back of the box reads as follows. It's a big one. Enter an ancient world of bravery, mysticism, and romance. In this epic role-playing adventure, you will roam the land trying to build an army of rebels. On your quest for freedom from the Scarlet Moon Empire, you will meet many people who will provide you with guidance and friendship, and many who will try to crush you under their boots. Let your head and heart guide you. Apologies. But a word of advice: a sharpened sword and a touch of magic will lead to a longer life. Change your party of characters using any of over 100 recruits that you meet on your mission. Build a castle, fortress to headquarter your army. Watch the castle grow as your recruits use their unique talents, Mages teach you the secret of magical runes, soldiers open an armory, builders construct enhancements, and much, much more. Unravel the secret of the empire, unlock the meaning of the 27 true runes, and discover the 108 stars of destiny. Multiple battle modes, one on one duels, banded fights, even full scale army versus army with a deep, complex story based on ancient Eastern lore. This game will provide you with hours and hours of exciting RPG action and adventure. Just want to point out that the first letter of those middle 5 paragraphs are all broken out. So it looks like they're trying to spell Cebuum, change, build, watch, unravel, and multiple. Cebuum. Cebuum. A
Okay.
Suikoden game. You can reach them on the World Wide Web at www.konami.com, in case you're looking for them.
It shouldn't redirect you to non-video games as of yet.
No, I think actually I keep accidentally going to suikoden.com, and that takes you to, albeit Japanese website, but actually I don't think it has anything to do with the games. It does not.
Okay.
So,
Can't win them all.
nope. Which brings us to what is Suikoden? Suikoden is a Japanese RPG developed by Konami, created by Yoshitaka Murayama. Murayama worked on a lot, actually, but worked on Suikoden, at least what was released, Suikoden 1 and 2, then worked on 3, but left Konami before 3 had been released. And then I believe 3 is the furthest forward in the timeline that we go. 2 follows 1, 3 follows 2, and then 4 is a prequel to 1 where I think you play as Ted.
Oh, that makes
Um,
okay. Okay.
Either Ted or Gremio. I forget which one. Yeah, you play as one of them, or it follows them. And 5, I think, follows that sequentially. So 3 is the furthest we go, I believe. This is fascinating. I did not know this until playing this game and doing some research on Suikoden. Did you know that Konami, prior to buying Hudson and technically now being the owners of the TurboGrafx, Konami was making a console in the mid 90s? Or at least some sort of hardware they were
I did not know
in the
that.
process of building. No, I had no idea
I mean,
until literally,
it makes sense. Like everyone was coming out
yeah,
with crap.
everybody was. And Konami was so prolific between the 8 and 16-bit eras, it would make sense. Like, sure, why not make your own thing and sell the thing and put your games on it? Made a ton of sense. So Suikoden was developed for that console. Uh, they were basically trying to outfit that console or computer or handheld. They weren't really quite sure what it was going to be, or it had changed over time. Uh, they were trying to get first party games ready to go for a launch of that, and Suikoden was one of them. Then Sony announced the PlayStation, and they were like, all right, we probably shouldn't do this. If Sony's going to do this and put money into it, it's probably, now we're crowding the market. Is it better sense for us to just do something else? So all games that were in development for that hardware were canceled, including this original Suikoden idea. And really the only thing that carried over from the original Suikoden was the fact that it was a role-playing game and that the hero's best friend was named Ted. Everything else scrapped completely. Suikoden, at least this game, the full title in Japanese is actually Genso Suikoden, which loosely translates or roughly translates to Fantasy Water Margin, which, of course, is based on the classic Chinese novel Water Margin. Tell me if the story sounds familiar to you, Matt. Water Margin follows a group of 108 outlaws who gather to rebel against the government. They're all assigned a rank and a star. So that was kind of where they pulled story influence for to get this so together. The other thing I found that was interesting about this is Suikoden 2 is actually the game they wanted to make. But because the team was so new at making RPGs And Konami really didn't have an RPG prior to the Suikoden series. Uh, they they knew Suikoden 2 was the one, but they had to get there. So Suikoden 2 was them learning how to make an RPG, which is interesting when you kind of like look through Suikoden at that lens and know kind of what the any of the stuff in this game that feels like a little like, oh, that's weird, or oh, that's a good idea. Like, sometimes those good ideas happen because they're not stuck in the tropes of making an RPG and other things where you're like, how'd you guys miss that? Because that's kind of a standard fare for RPGs. But yeah. Um, and then last little bit of intro I've got is why we added it to the list. This was my election for the list, and I had two reasons. One was kind of looking at last year we did Pokemon Gold and Pokemon Silver, and thinking like, is there something akin to that that we can kind of carry forward into season 13?
Is there something else we can catch all of them?
Like, yeah, and like I was like, well, Suikoden, you gotta catch them all, right? It's 108 of them, but I think my note to myself last year when putting together the schedule for the season was it's Pokemon but with people. The other reason that I was drawn to Suikoden, because I looked at some other RPGs, not necessarily like in terms of catching, but I wanted an RPG that was short enough that we could play it, um, and something I'd not played before. So I looked at stuff like Breath of Fire. I looked at some of the East games that are on the shorter side, but Suikoden stood out for a couple of reasons. One, I've never played it. I knew you'd never played it. Two, I felt like I was adding Rondo of Blood and kind of like capturing that Konami essence at its peak. And I feel like Suikoden was another one of those from that 90s Konami golden era. And then finally, I already owned it when
Hey, that
your
helps.
friend, yeah, when your friend Jim Ryan threatened to destroy the PlayStation Network a few years ago. Um, and we all kind of rush bought a bunch of things before they'd be gone forever. I bought Suikoden 1 and 2, and I've had them installed on my PSPs and my Vita for years and just have not touched them. Um, there's some other ones like I remember I bought like Alundra, I bought Arc the Lad, some of those, and I've played through a bit of those, but Suikoden never touched. And it's like, all right, podcast is a good answer for it. Um, and that's it. What's your experience with Suikoden prior to this?
I didn't know a lot about it. I someone I actually in hindsight I think it's someone at eh, at IGN, but I think Jared Petty was the one who talked and
Hmm.
loved this game on podcast Beyond. He
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
I think he subbed in when Colin or Greg were out one time and they were just talking about games and somehow they got into like favorite PlayStation games. And he immediately jumped out and said Suikoden 1 and 2. That's been like
Yeah,
the one
that
thing
makes sense.
that stood out about Suikoden. And I knew there was a cast of characters, like an expansive cast
Yeah, yeah.
of characters, and that was really it. Besides it just being like a JRPG.
Yeah, I knew JRPG, I knew Konami, and I knew that 1 and 2, I knew you could transfer your save from 1 into 2. I didn't know in what capacity or what that
I think
was
it was
or
talked
any of that.
about in that thing, but
Yeah,
I didn't necessarily remember if you could or couldn't.
yeah. The only other experience I've had with Suikoden was actually Castlevania related. I don't know if you remember the story, but this is back in like late high school, early college. My copy of Symphony of the Night had become quite scratched, so it was starting to skip whenever I'd put it into the PlayStation.
Okay.
And I play that game nonstop.
Mm-hmm.
So our friend Akko was like, "Hey, there's this retro game store. They might have a copy. Let's go see." And we went in, and we're kind of like browsing around. It was one of those like, "Hey, how's it going, guys?" And then we're looking around for stuff. And then the question was like, "Are you looking for anything in particular? Can I help you find anything?" And I was like, "Yeah, I was looking to see if you had a copy of Castlevania Symphony of the Night," not knowing how elusive that's become and how
Yeah.
expensive. And some just super nerd who was just
Mm-hmm.
loitering in the
Yep.
store
Mm-hmm.
looks up, and I'm not like exact, like he had the stereotypical voice and everything. He just went, yeah, and they have Suikoden too. And I was like,
Simple no would have
all right.
sufficed.
I had no idea what any of it was, and I was like, what is he talking about? And Aqua's like, it's a really rare PlayStation game. He's saying that they don't have it. And I was like, okay, got it, great, thanks so much. The guy was like, no man, I'm sorry. Sometimes we get it in, but it goes really quickly, and it's usually I forget what he was even saying the price was, but I feel like I've seen Symphony of the Night these days, and it's not hateful. I feel like maybe back then it was more expensive because it wasn't like digitally released yet. This would have been like pre it even hitting
Yeah.
Xbox, Xbox Live. Oh, okay, never mind. Complete in box is 250,
Okay. Okay.
160, 90 if you want the greatest hits version. Yeah, all right.
I have
Oh,
the collection now. That's fine.
yeah, exactly. And hey, you know what? Another mutual friend did the toothpaste trick and repaired my disc, so the disc works.
Perfect.
Voila. What do you look for in a JRPG? If you're going to sit down and get lost in a JRPG, what are you expecting? What are you hoping for?
Some kind of turn-based, or even Final Fantasy ATB style combat
Mm-hmm.
where like there's an overworld, random encounters, go into battle is a whole different like layout, even graphical look or whatever. Usually, a cast of characters down on their luck,
Mm-hmm.
and then you slowly recruit the party, not necessarily up to 108, but
No,
maybe
but
to like 12 or so, and sub in and out and level up and get equipment, and you kind of get into it what you put into it, or sorry, you get out what you put into it in terms of like secret bosses, secret
mhm.
equipment, all that fun stuff.
Do you think grinding is essential to a JRPG?
Oh, I think most in this era, at least. And
Yeah,
nowadays,
yeah.
I don't even know the last time I played a Final Fantasy where I needed to grind.
No.
Borrowing,
No, that you kind of naturally.
because I mean, I guess 14's an outlier. 15 I didn't. 16 I didn't. I guess I haven't played
Yeah.
13, but yeah.
14, I remember doing a bit of it just because, like, if I'd changed job class or something, where I, like,
Mm.
okay, now I need to grind. I got to go do other things. But yeah. Yeah, they've really streamlined that. They've kind of taken it out. But yeah, these old ones, it's definitely a thing where I'm like, I'm going to spend a couple hours in a field just running in circles and then going back to town if I need to heal up. Um, yeah. Which we'll talk about grinding or how what that approach looks like in Suikoden. Tell me about the story in Suikoden. What's the setup? What's our
Um, the so you play as a character you name yourself, McDowell, right? It's something
his last name
McDowell.
is McDole. He
Um.
does have a canonical name based on the sequel, but
Oh, interesting. Okay.
yeah, I know. Yeah, but yeah, they let you name him here.
But yeah, you are the son of a famous commander of the Empire. Then your dad goes up north to defend an area or whatever, kind of leaving you in the main hub area. I forget the name of the town. Greg, yeah,
Gregminster.
okay, yeah, something like that. Pretty much the capital of the Empire, and forget what exactly transpires, but it turns out your best friend Ted is holding a key relic called a rune, and a special someone of the Empire wants it,
Mm-hmm.
and things transpire, and you become a fugitive of the Empire.
Yeah, kind of quickly, and to your point too, like kind of suddenly, like it got to a point where and I think I'd started this game and then maybe been like, I'm too early. Like, let me wait and play some other stuff, either podcast stuff or just whatever. To the point where when I came back to my save, I was like,
Yeah,
why did
what
they hate
happened?
me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
Um,
very much like, can I call Dad? Like, can we get Dad's opinion on all this a little bit? Didn't he just
yeah,
leave like yesterday?
yeah.
Um,
No, you can't.
yeah, and like I said, the story very quickly just picks up. Then you're kind of captaining the Liberation Army very quickly.
I, yeah, like kind of out of nowhere. It's within a couple like hours, not even.
Yeah. But I guess like it's no honestly, it's no different than Final Fantasy VII, where you think it's
No,
Shinra, then all of a sudden, oh, that Sephiroth's a bad. He seems like a bad guy.
right.
Um,
But like, not don't really know how we got there.
yeah. So no, yeah. Then like I said, events happen. We can get into specifics if you want to, but it's pretty much you leading the Liberation Army against the Empire. The Empire trying to fight back, specifically the right hand woman, Lord Windy,
Windy, yeah.
chasing after this dark room, for which becomes uncovered as the story goes along. And yeah, and it's you're down on your luck trying to bring a
Yes.
party to success.
And like, honestly, like, I think the story is it's easy enough to follow. It does go in some weird places. Like at some point, you fight Dracula,
Yes,
basically. Like,
I wanna. We'll get there.
yeah. But I mean, all told, like, I don't think there was anything particular. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. I was gonna say there wasn't any like crazy surprises, but there were some
Story goes
character.
there. It
Yeah,
seems like I don't know. A lot of this game it takes the back seat, but it will go there when it wants to.
yeah, that's a good point. Um, yeah, some surprises along the way. The things for me that I think stand out are the ways in which this handles being a JRPG. Um, like the the combat itself, the exploration, how big the map is, and how like real the world feels, and then like yeah, like you're collecting 108 people, but like all 108 of these people are completely unique. Like even some of the ones that are kind of like, all right, you're just that town's black. Because at some point you collect like 5 blacksmiths. In order to get the final one, you need to have had the rest of them and then bring them all in your party and talk to the final one. But like some of them, it's just like, okay, well, you're Moose, you're Meese, you're Mose, got it. You're the blacksmiths. Um, but there's some weirdos in there, and there's some with some very specific character. They all have very unique character traits and personalities around them. Um, and there's also like I think a lot of I don't know, like I like especially toward the beginning, I was having a tough time kind of grasping what I did next or like where I'm supposed to go. Especially when I was like not really slipping into it so quickly. I would like start it, I'd wander through the field, do a couple of fights, get lost and forget where I am. You don't have a map at the beginning of the game, and I'm like forgetting where I am or where I even need to go. And I do like that at some point you talk to a guy named Craze and he like tells you everything you have to do. And like sometimes, I don't know about you, but in JRPGs and things like this, I have a tendency to just sort of like mash the button
Yep,
and like speed read and I got
you're
it.
not alone.
And right after that, with Craze specifically, I was thinking to myself, I have no idea what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then he asks you, what did I just tell you to do? Do you know where you're supposed to go? And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And like occasionally, like I feel like this game more than other JRPGs I've played, sometimes you have a JRPG where you talk to somebody in a town and they're like, boy, there was a guy with silver hair and a big sword who came by. I don't know what like and like you're like, okay, I gotta go find it. But like this one was like a little bit more telling or whatever. Like not always. It definitely had the like you know, rocks are fun, and you're like, what am I supposed to? Oh, I have to go to Rockland. Got it. Like, um, I don't know. It felt, yeah, a little like you could easily get lost in this, but it was also like easy enough to kind of find your way. Um, yeah, I don't know. Where do you want to go? You want to go through gameplay, story?
I would say let's talk about the characters and the mass amount of characters you have and what that brings to the table. Because I want to say, I mean, I maybe I don't know my JRPGs like I thought, but I would say like in a land of JRPGs, that's the thing that makes this thing stick out.
Yeah, 100%. Because you, like, I promise you, we did not have the same team going into the end of the game. Um,
Yes.
and like, I don't think, I mean, maybe people do, but like, you really like, you can kind of do what you want. Um, the thing I love about this game, and speaking of the characters and just, and like that stuff, is the equipment in the game. So you're you can talk to blacksmiths in every town, and blacksmiths will sharpen your weapon and they'll let you attach or remove runes from them. Um, but that's it. There's no weapon. You know what I mean? It's not like another JRPG where it's like, okay, well, this town sells the mace and the nunchucks
Yep.
and the great sword. Like your character, each character has their own weapon, period, that can be increased in its attack value by sharpening it through blacksmiths. And then depending on the blacksmith that you find, like they each have different uh
Levels of
peaks
expertise, I
they
would
can hit.
say.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like they max out at a certain bit. The first one can only sharpen you up to level 5, and eventually you get all the way up to I think 16. Um, but there's no worry about like, shoot, I left that guy's not in my party
My
anymore, and I
lightning
left
mace is I left I left it behind and
exactly
I,
the
you know,
one of a kind thing. Um, you do have equipment though that you buy, and that can be passed around between people. Um, there's very rare few occasions where like a person will leave your party and you can't get the equipment back off of them. A few times there's a couple characters who kind of like wander off and do their own thing for a bit, but generally speaking, you can kind of always retrieve that stuff and swap around armor and whatnot if you want to. Um, all that's to say, like, I like that part of it. I like that you're never like really locked into that, and you kind of have options. You as you collect people, well, I guess you pointed out before, right? You are starting to lead the
Liberation Army.
Liberation Army. Thank you, not the Imperial Army. Yeah, the Liberation Army. And to do so, every good army needs a headquarters, right? So you find this old, disgusting, falling apart castle in the middle of the water, and you take it over, and slowly you build it up. And what it equates to in gameplay terms is like the more characters you collect, the higher level your headquarters can become. Um, and then that dictates sort of who shows up and what stations you have there. It dictates some of the other characters you can or cannot recruit based on your castle level. Um, but that in turn becomes the core of the game because like yeah, the story's there, and I think the story's interesting enough, and it goes places, it does weird things, but it's also the hook of like meeting characters and realizing that like everyone you talk to who has a physical character portrait can be recruited. If you talk to somebody and just a text box pops up, that's it. You just talk to them and they're just a non-playable character. But if they have a portrait, you can recruit them at some point. And I remember like really early on, like I knew you were recruiting people, but I didn't know like what that meant or what the system was.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember meeting I wrote it down, Chandler. I think he was on like the bridge as you're going south somewhere. I don't remember. But you meet Chandler and he's like, I really hope I get my own store one day. And yeah, he's the guy that opens up the store in your castle once you recruit him. Like it's cool stuff like that where it's like, oh, neat. Um, but you get that, right? Like you get a store in your castle. Once you start recruiting blacksmiths, they're just in your castle to sharpen your weapons and help you with rune attachment. You can recruit one of the like caretakers from an inn, and she becomes the one who uh, lets you save your game and heal your party. you can recruit a chef, and then instead of him cooking anything, for some reason Gremio cooks you stuff. But like, um, yeah, like there's there's all sorts of people throughout. Is there one that stands out to you that you like? I know there's a bunch.
I mean, stands out in terms of just hanging out, the
I
purpose.
guess. All right. So let's see. Is there one that you had a fun time recruiting?
um, I would say figuring out what to do with the blacksmiths was like interesting.
Yeah.
Once you kind of figured out the pattern there. Um, having fun recruiting. I mean, a lot of them are just like small little tasks, like whether it's like
Yeah.
getting your character to a certain level, getting the castle built up enough, getting recruiting X amount of people so you can recruit this person.
Sometimes there was I forget her name, but there was one who was like, I can't find my cat. And like you if you remember there was a
Okay.
cat in a town you were already in, you just go talk to the cat. Cat joins you, you take it back.
I mean, there's a couple where
Um
they had you play games to recruit them.
Ooh, can we talk about that? Because that's actually one of my favorite parts of the game. Uh Gosh, what is his name?
Gaspar.
Gasper? Gaspar, yeah. Gaspar, you meet him, you kind of have to meet him, right?
Yes.
Before you go somewhere, and you have to engage with him and play his game once.
Yes.
And his game, I want to play it for real because I'm so good at it now. Not really, because it's all luck.
I was gonna
But
say what?
I'm good at getting mad at it.
Oh yeah.
Um, you have a bowl, you have 3 dice, and you roll, throw them in the bowl. And then it's basically if there's duplicates and a single, the single is your score. Whoever has the highest score wins. But if you get triples, the other person pays triple
A storm.
because it's a storm. Yeah. If you get 4, 5, 6, it's immediately a storm, right? Is it still a storm for 4, 5, 6?
It's called something else, but it pays double.
Okay, it pays double. 1, 2, 3 means if whoever rolls a 1, 2, 3, you pay double.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Triple
is that it?
ones. Triple ones
Triple
is
one.
you pay triple, or the
You
roller
pay
pays
triple.
triple.
Yeah. Got it. That is, I did you find out the trick to that actually? There is a trick to
No,
getting
I
good at
even
that
Googled
game.
it too. I did not find a trick.
The trick is have characters in your party with high luck values.
Oh.
I never like min-max that stuff to take advantage of it, but I did incidentally have characters with good luck at one point because I had one roll that was like really going well for me where I was just like kind of always hitting either a 4, 5, 6 or I was uh the what's his face? Gasper was throwing triple ones or one, two,
Yeah.
threes. So I was kind of racking it up. And what he'll do is like every time you win, he'll say, if you bet everything you won so far, I'll match it. So you can kind of quickly, if you're lucky and the RNG works in your favor, you can quickly rack up money. There is an upper limit of 999,999, which I never got even close. I think I got like close to 500K, but I never really needed more than that.
What?
And then
Wait, what?
what?
Hold on.
What?
I was continuously maxing out my money.
Oh, you go all the way up to 99999?
Continuously.
How? Just
We're
patience?
playing. Yeah.
Oh man.
And I would save scum it. Oh,
I was safe scumming. No, for sure.
okay. So we have different things. This was a necessity.
This kind of was, but for me, what I would end up doing is like, I'd get enough to make sure that my current party's weapons were all evenly matched.
How many characters did
And
you end up using?
I kind of stuck to the same core 6.
Okay, maybe that's why it was different.
So obviously there's some story beats that
Yeah,
force me
yeah,
to
yeah,
swap
yeah.
characters out. And that would be the honestly, like anytime that would happen. So for me, getting to Necklord's castle was the first real challenge where I was like, oh, I need to grind. Like not just level wise, but also I gotta go play with Gaspar. So I would do that and I was reloading saves to optimize my money. And really I would just get enough so that I could sharpen weapons, get everybody up to at least the max that the whatever that blacksmith I had at that point could get to, and then get generally decent gear. Not the best gear for every character, but like get everybody on like an even playing field. I forget if you have half helmet by the time you get to Necklord or not, but like get stuff of like that caliber of like top to bottom for those types of characters. Um, I found that helped. And then like I was peeking at a guide because I was trying to go for 108. Um, and I kind of fell off of it for a while where I was like, nah, I don't care anymore. And then I realized I was at a point where I could still do it. And I was like, all right, I'll do a cleanup run, grab everybody, and then stay on the path. And part of looking at that guide, I remember learning that like Cleo with a water rune is really good as a healer. So I kind of always kept Cleo with me and kept a water rune or the flow rune, whatever it is. So like there's some stuff like that I think helped me out, but otherwise I wasn't going crazy crazy. So what was your approach with maxing out money? Doing that and then max sharp or
Yeah, it was everything. So I guess I was just experimenting with different party members, and of course, like they would all have low weapons. So by the
yeah,
time I'm late game and things are in, I can carve up to level 12. It was just so expensive.
it was really expensive.
So like to if I would typically try to do like three familiar characters and three new ones, or like if the story beat depend on how story beats go, it might be like one familiar character with the story whatever was 3 and 3.
Yeah.
Um, but no, like getting them all sharpened up to like a level that was whatever appeasable for the story beat. I felt was like necessary. So yeah, I was playing this game relentlessly.
Yeah.
Like we would do a mission, story beat would change, and then like it would put me outside of a castle, zip back to the blinking mirror, back to the
Yeah,
castle,
yeah.
hit the rest stop, save, go play, go up to the fourth floor, go to Matthew. Here are my characters. I want these characters. All right, go back down to the first floor, and then go down to the basement because it doesn't go
You
whatever.
can't take the elevator down there. Yeah.
Whatever that how that works, and then go hit save again, and then I'm gonna go get all the equipment because I was too lazy to do all the storage stuff, so I would just buy new.
Yep.
Go up, go hit save again, and then whatever money I'd have left, I would go hit max out at 99999, and then go up sharpen my tools until I had like 300,000 or so, enough to like have a good run where if I lost like once, I didn't have to reload a save. Go
Yeah,
back
yeah.
down, go play Gaspar, whatever luck came my way, go back, sharpen, and then hopefully I was done. If I wasn't done, I will go back, save, and play, go back up, sharpen, finish that, go hit save one more time. And then hopefully it was around like the 900,000 mark. If I wasn't, I would play just a little bit, get back there with some breathing room for all the money I would get out and about because I'll figure I'd max it out that
Right.
way. And that was my experience between story beats every single time.
Man. So I think the difference is I wasn't always sharpening all the way for everyone. I would try to, but like some of them I would be like, I'm not going all the way up to whatever number it was. And then I was going to, I forget the guy's name that handles your inventory, but I would go to him and be like, like look through characters I'm not using. I'm like, oh, he doesn't need that. Give me that. Give me that. Give me that. And pull all that stuff off and recycle
I
it.
got so sick of doing that. I did like twice.
It's tedious. I think that system's not bad. Like I've seen worse, but it is really, really tedious.
But I can't, it's not even like a complaint of the game. I think it's just like system of the times because like
Yeah.
materia in 7 is the same exact nightmare.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Where
like
like Final Fantasy 13, you can just like open the character, click optimize, Voila.
Like
Just
even
put that.
7 Rebirth and Remake, I know there's like loadouts you can do, but even still,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like a fucking nightmare, like to manipulate
yeah.
all of it when you, especially in Rebirth, because it forces party switching so much.
Oh yeah.
For story beats, it's just like, oof.
Yeah, that.
But yeah, no. Anyway, again, it's just like I said, it's not like a qualm. It's just like it becomes tedious. I was just like, well, I rather just play the dice game, get to whatever, just buy
Yeah,
new, and go from there. And that's kind of
yeah.
how I played it. And I probably played across like 30 of the characters that I had because I didn't know who was good, who was bad. I was just trying to get a taste of what I could.
Did you put Fusulu in your party? I saw
No.
him and I was like, this is a Matt character.
No, I maybe once, but it was not a staple. I know
I
it's
thought
King
that
from
the
Tekken. I know.
exactly the second piece. I was like, this is Matt. Um, did you have anybody that stood out as like a all right? Let me hang on to them. Like
I
I opted for Cleo, obviously, but
Yeah, Cleo became a staple. I don't know if we read the same thing, maybe because I also think I have a water rune on Cleo,
yeah,
and was
it
very
became like a
good.
common recommendation.
Was very good. I knew about a sequence midway through the game. Well, I didn't know when, but it turns out to be like midway through the game with Pan. So he was a regular early on until that moment.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I tried it. I liked what's her name, Valeria, a lot because
Oh,
she
with the
had a
Falcon
rune.
rune. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
she had a
got her.
rune that didn't have cooldown, which I thought was
Yep.
awesome.
Yep.
She stuck
I kept
around.
her in the party.
I'm looking at these other.
I also kept Kasumi in the party. She's one of the ninjas, and I gave her the Shrike rune, or she already had it herself. I don't know if she came with it. Um, but with that one, she does a power bomb. I don't know if you
Oh,
had
I
that
have
rune or
seen.
anything.
Yes, I remember seeing
And it
that. Yeah.
worked on it even worked on the final boss. Like you're grabbing one of the heads and pulling the neck
Oh,
all the
that's
way up into the
awesome.
sky and slam. It was really good.
That's awesome. No, but I think I just threw it around because I didn't know who to use at what time. Like, there was like a point where I was using like Eileen, like I just because I just
Oh
didn't
yeah.
know. I didn't know what were good magic dealers because I there was like I come to understand it. I think I just understood it too late, like how magic worked and the leveling and how it slots the spells and
It's weird. It's
stuff
not the
like
same. Yeah.
that. So like
It makes so much sense now, but no, I'm with you. I didn't understand that for the longest time.
it probably
And then
wasn't
like
until the neck load.
Necklord.
Yeah. It wasn't probably until then where I started really understanding a lot of these systems. Like I had
Same.
crystals in my inventory for whatever, because I just thought they were
Yep.
attachments to the weapons. I didn't know they were consumables to permanently upgrade.
Yep.
Um,
I'd done it like by accident, but then I like wasn't really paying. Yeah, I didn't pay enough attention to that. It was that castle. I was just getting thrown, and I was like, all right, I got it. What am I doing wrong? Um,
but yeah, no, I was just kind of trying to use everyone. But yeah, whenever I was switch, especially when I was kind of learning the game so late,
yeah,
yeah, everything was like up to level 12 sharpening and was kind of sort of needed. Um, so yeah, no, I like, and I think that was part of my. Again, it's not like a huge frustration because it's just a victim of its time and whatever. But it was like the little tedious little things that are at the end of the day like 10 seconds, but it feels like forever. Like walking up to the fourth floor to talk to Matthew.
well,
Then you go,
that's the thing. Like because so much of this game doesn't do that. There's like so many things that just kind of work, right?
right.
Like the fact that in a uh battle you just have medicine, period.
Mm-hmm.
That heals whatever. It revives characters. You don't have to worry
Mm-hmm.
about equipping this spell. I
You don't
mean,
need to
there's
carry a
things you can
phoenix
do.
down with you and potions and a high potion. Well, I guess there is like
Just a
mega
potion.
medicine, but yeah.
Just yeah, yeah, you do get that for later on. But like just medicine will revive someone who's fallen. Like that stuff streamlined. Another one that's like tiny little, speaking of healing, I don't know if you ever noticed this or if it happened to you, but if you cast a healing spell
Yes,
and
it
that character
lingers.
doesn't Yeah, a character doesn't cast it before you defeat the enemy. They still perform it before you leave the battle. So you go back into the field like healed up. I love that. And I think that's what makes this game where it does start to get like any of those little moments of slowdown or drag because everything else kind of just like works and it clicks. It does make those things stand out. Like menus, I think are generally like great, easy to navigate,
Yeah.
easy to like rotate through options. Um,
You see what you
I don't
needed
know. I
for the
think like
formations was easy enough.
yeah,
The whole handoff thing. There was a lot of cool things for what that could be tedious. There was like, oh, if you picked an armor and you hit hand over, in the bottom left, you would have your roster, and the colors would turn either dark, green, or red, indicating like, hey, this is an upgrade for them if you give it to them, or black
yep,
if they couldn't
it's
equip it.
incompatible.
Like they, yeah.
Yep.
There is a
So
lot
cool.
of neat stuff there that
Yes.
I do appreciate. No, and it was just like it was like the go to the fourth floor, talk to Matt, and it was just the same pattern. And
Dude, I
then
hated that. No, I hated it so
Gaspar was
much.
in my play, and that could have been 5 minutes, it could have been 15, depending on my luck or whatever.
Yep.
And then on top of this, I played it on my PSP, and I don't think that was the experience for me. I the entire time, I think after hour two, I was like, I should play this on a PlayStation so I can sit down
Yeah.
properly. And like I was like, I'll get better once this game picks up. And I think the entire playthrough, it was like, oh man, I have to play my PSP. It's not on
Yeah.
my console. It's not on TV where I want this to be. So I was fighting that a little bit. But
I
suffice to say, no, going back to the main idea of the characters. I love like all these characters feel unique, and I think the cool thing is kind of to what you said. Like, yeah, you can bring all them out into battle. They're all not useful in battle, though. One of them is literally to be your shopkeeper. One of them is to be the person you talk to rest and save your game in your castle. Getting the rune person into your
Mhm.
castle, so that way, like, you're probably not bringing her out into the field. Um, so a lot of it is just like it's like base building, um, a base building simulator than it is like a
yeah.
JRPG, and there's elements of
You
that.
can bring them out, and some of them have funny things. Like
Yeah,
I never really got him to do anything weird, but I know I think it's Sansuke, the bathhouse guy. Apparently, he has some interesting things if you get him to a certain level or something, which I never got to do. But yeah, like
no intro.
there
Okay,
are elements of that.
yeah.
There's weird stuff, but
Um,
yeah, not all of them are well equipped for battle.
but yeah, so I like that aspect of it. If I go back in my lineage of games, like Peace Walker and Metal Gear Solid 5 have this base building aspect, and this gives me
Mhm.
memories of that where like you're not bringing like well, it's not Otacon, but like um um you're not bringing his dad into the fold because he's in a wheelchair, but he is a good scientist, so like you put him in your R&D department.
Right, right,
Hal,
right, right, right.
sorry, it's
Yeah,
Hal.
yeah, yeah. That stuff like that like logically makes sense. Like this person has a place, and they're gonna do their thing. They also like I love like some of them like I don't know the ninjas ended up on the roof, and like you go and talk to them, and they're just like so stoic and like
Yeah.
whatever.
And
Um,
then just one last thing about the characters, because I think there's a few things still we're talking about. We're already.
I know. We yeah.
Um, if you think you're doomed by leveling, you are not.
Okay, so that's what I wanted to bring up is like I talked before about like is grinding necessary in a JRPG, and I think of this era, yes, it is. However, in this case, I think the only grinding you have to do is what you already described, which is
Gaspar.
Gaspar, not going out to the field to grind. A little bit, like when I got to Necklord's castle, I was a little underleveled, but the really cool thing about that, yeah, cool thing about that though is you well, not just being underleveled, but having characters and like swapping party members in and out. If you are like back at your castle and you're like, oh, that guy looks cool, I'm gonna bring him, but he's level 12 and the rest of your party's 27, put him through like 4 battles.
Yeah.
He'll be there. Like the level scaling goes super quickly, which is nice. Um, I don't know. Yeah, all the way around. Like I think
And it's it's to the point too where like, because like you might enter an area and you see that your character levels quickly, and you're like, oh, okay, there's a level jump here. But then like you
Mm.
see where you stall, so like you're at a soft cap,
Yeah.
and it makes
Yep.
you just feel better about like, all right, if I just have the right equipment and have my weapon to a decent sharpness, like I'm
Yep.
supposed to overcome this. I just need to figure out the
Exactly.
strategy or whatever. So it takes out that like that subconscious feeling of like, do I need to go out to the overfield, or can I actually persevere if I like try harder or think about it more?
Yeah.
And I applaud the game for that. For as tedious as it is to actually get the weapon sharpness to where it needs to be sometimes, the actual leveling for your statistics is
Super good.
easy. It's super
And
convenient.
another piece on combat we haven't touched on yet. I guess my last two thoughts on combat. I mean, we can say as much as we want, or as much as you want, but the last two things I have is there's. I guess I have three. One is the unite function. So if you have characters who
Yes.
are either like buddies or they're of a certain like similar class or whatever, you can use unite, and they'll kind of like do a team up attack, and
The first
it's super.
time I saw that, I was so concerned that it'd be so hard to see like who would be useful for. But once you kind of see how the large scale battles, which is something we'll talk about, once you kind of see
Yeah,
how
yeah.
they are like grouped together, it's
Yep.
so easy to figure out
Yeah.
like who to
Ah,
experiment
ah,
with. Yeah,
yeah. The strategists, the ninjas, the thieves.
the
Yeah, got it,
cooks.
got it, got it. Yeah, exactly. Um, the other thing I want to point out about combat is the row system. So you have front row, back
Hmm.
row, and you mentioned it before in terms of like organizing who's where and how easy it is to notate that. The thing I like about that is when you kind of choose from combat, like you can manually pick each character's attack. You can also choose free will and just let them go for it. One, I find that you end up getting more critical attacks when you run free will, or at least that was my experience. It felt like I was getting more
Eh,
crits doing that than
eh.
hit or miss. But the thing I liked about free will too is like the rows, and this would happen even when you just like would issue commands, but the rows would act or could act independently. So you can kind of like speed through and like that's the thing where like grinding is not necessarily a thing, but I also never was like bummed about getting into a fight in the overworld. Like some games when you're going through the overworld or you're going through a place and you see it transition to battle, you're like, okay, I
How
just
many
want to get to
times
the
have
kill.
I complained on this podcast about games on this list where it's like, man, I wish there was a freaking button to just like, it's a level 5 character or level 5 enemy. I have like a party of level 20s. Let me just breeze through it. Don't even like give me the auto win. Free will was as close to getting a solution to that while engaging in all these battles.
Right, you still engage. It's, you can do that, but you also have two other options. Let go, because if you're high enough level, you can let go versus run, and
Mm-hmm.
you'll see that trigger if you're like meant to leave. It's not always a guarantee, but you have a much higher chance of being able to like escape the battle freely. The other option you have is bribe. You can literally
Yeah.
bribe your way out of every battle. There was one where I was like literally two steps away from something, and I was like, I just want to bribe, and it was like way too much. It was like $85,000 to get out of this fight. It's like, all right, I shouldn't have done that, but whatever. Um, that was two things. I think the third thing is just that like I genuinely like liked battling. I
Yeah,
thought
I,
that
I kind of like the whole idea of like just going through the entire order and then it was a turn.
yes,
Um, and then depending on stats, characters would go before one another or whatever. But yeah, I did like that. Now there were times where I was like, I want to do a specific thing with one character, but free will the rest of them. There's like not that option. You kind of, if you have to do something specific with one character, you have to do it for the entire party. But another minor inconvenience. It's also not that hard to mash X and just get through the menus and get
yeah,
to. Also, screw ups, you can backtrack. How many games do you hit the
yes,
attack command and it's locked in and you're
you're locked
fucked?
in.
This game, if you're
Yep,
mashing X to get to the last character and you're like, oh shit, whoops, you can hit back and it like goes
yep.
back. You can go back to the first. You can actually go back to that main screen and hit free will
All
if
the
you
way back
want
to the
to.
main thing and decide to run if you want to. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because sometimes you want to use a rune and you're like, or and like some of the runes will like auto attack. You don't have to like select who you're choosing to attack, and others. So it's easy to screw that
And
up.
like and when the story beat changes and you get your new like force characters in, sometimes your formation gets screwed up and you don't realize it. So like where you thought your healer was is now
Right.
like moved around, and so like you can accidentally input like an action where you kind of got used to someone being there, and you're like, oh fuck, and then like again in this game it lets you come back and like fix your mistake.
Yeah, I really really appreciated that. You mentioned, speaking of combat, the other two combat modes, and the back of the box calls them out too. But yeah,
Yeah.
there's these like large scale wars, and then there's duels, which there's very few. There's very few of those anyway. Like,
Well,
yeah,
story
the
ones. I
thing
don't know
with,
about optional, but
as far as I know, it's all the story ones. Um, yeah, so the wars are the kind of more recurring one outside of like standard combat, RPG combat. Um, the wars have a thing where what is it? So like as you've recruited members of the Liberation Army, you'll have
it's like a
it's
soldier
almost like a
count.
rock paper scissors. Yeah, you have
Oh
a
yeah,
soldier count, they have a soldier count, and it's a rock paper scissors thing.
yeah.
It's bow, magic, and charge are the three attack types, and it one defeats the other, defeats the other, defeats the other. The trick is like obviously like knowing what to throw, right? Because if you get it wrong, it's at a detriment. And the wars are the one spot where you can actually permanently lose one of your characters. So it's important to pay attention during that. Like you'll have a character, if they pop up and say something like, well, I gave it my best, you're like, oh, okay, great, gotta reload my save. Um, I had one the very last war that you have to do, or whatever it is, whatever they're called. But the very last one you had to do, one of my characters was like, I'm not done fighting yet. And I was like, is that a death? So I like ran back and checked the board and her name wasn't grayed out. And I was like, okay, she's still alive. I'm good to keep going. Um, but the cool mechanic with this is you can cheat. So if you have thieves or ninjas, you can use all of your different like classifications. So
Mm-hmm.
Matt alluded to it before, but all of your characters you've collected start to appear in this game mode, this combat mode, in their like groupings
And like up
by
to
like their type.
trios. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can use and choose those for different things. So like before each attack, if you choose thieves, the thieves will sneak over and then come back with a report that is sometimes incorrect. Sometimes they come back with nothing or they just brought you money. But they'll come back and be like, I'm pretty sure the enemy is going to use magic. So then okay, I have to use charge or what I forget what was effective against magic. Um, Eventually you start getting some ninjas in the party and those and I should say, like, you're not choosing your characters when you go into the wars like you are in the regular overworld battles. Like, this is everyone here. Everyone in the Liberation Army is fighting this. And yeah, you choose like, okay, we'll send the ninjas. The ninjas come back and it's like, no, dude, they're using bow. You're gonna want to use magic for this. Um, yeah, different buffs you can do. I really only ever used the thieves, the ninjas, and the strategists.
Yeah, that's kind of what I went for in those. Um,
Because the
yeah.
strategists you could buff your charge attacks, and it was a significant buff, and then you'd wipe out the wars pretty well. I think like honestly, if it weren't for those, I probably would have had a worse time with the war stuff because that stuff having to like reload and redo those would
Yeah,
have
it's
been
a
painful.
it's a coin flip on those. But no, I think that goes again to like, all right, so this character might not be good in like an actual like in your party combat system of six, but like this character will unlock a class, and that
Mhm.
class could be useful, or it upgrades your magic strength or whatever
Yeah,
because like you can pick charge, bow, or magic, but within those are subsets of the different like trios. So like one is like so you could choose charge, and one of the charge options will be like the LaPont family, which is LaPont and his wife. Really
these
just
guys
LaPont.
rules.
Um,
Yeah,
but he'll have like strength 26 or something. But then if you can go down the list and there will be another trio, but their attack might only be like 21. So that's where like the recruiting kind of comes into play of giving you more options with better strength numbers or different other options that let you do like another turn at trying to steal the enemy command or given a buff of some kind. There's one group that you can send in as spies to try to convince the things to attack themselves or whatever. It just it's not necessary because by no means like did I chase the 108. I kind of just did what was in front of me to a certain extent.
But it is like a good not gatekeeping, but like a check of like,
yeah,
are you recruiting people? Are you keeping your army strong? Because like you need to do that to
because the more recruits you have too, the higher soldier count, which is your health pool in these battles,
in these war battles. Yeah,
because you can go in like I think I went into the last battle like with a 6,000 detriment, and I was like, oof, am I gonna pull this off?
Wow.
It was significant.
The other combat type is the duel, and there's only 3 of these. If you think of like the Fire Emblem, like when you see the characters acting out the actions you've given them, where it's got like a little ticked health bar and they're fighting head to head, it's that, except another rock paper scissors thing, basically, where character will say like a line of dialogue, and that dictates kind of how you should respond to it, whether or not they're going to what is it, over attack. They're basically going to like attack, defend, or like
it's a regular attack, defend, and a desperate attack.
Desperate attack is what it's called, not over attack. Yeah. So like depending on what they're gonna do is you should counter that. And that one you definitely need. There's a couple character. Well, there's the one in the middle with Pond, where like if you don't have him leveled up well enough,
dead.
He's not hanging. So I ended up like generally keeping an eye on a guide. Do you feel like you need a guide, or do you feel like you can kind of get through this game?
Probably not, but I did the thing that you said where like I like mashed one too many times and I would miss like the city name. I would be like, fuck. Where'd I go?
Where am I
Where'd I go? And instead of like me trying to like talk to everyone again, I would just pull up the guide. That's because like it's not impacted anything. I just need to know where I'm going. There's a couple times in the overworld where I kind of just like lost myself. So I will look at a guy because like the overworld, and I don't know if it's just because I was on the PSP, but like it's like just zoomed in enough where like you kind of lose your bearings on some of the mainland stuff. So I pulled up a guide to kind of get a better sense of like direction of like where I'm supposed to go at times.
Yeah.
But once you get that map, that goes away.
Yeah, the map helps, and then you can actually look up a picture of the map and have a pretty good reference of like where the city names are. Let me think here. Were there any story beats that surprised you?
I like I think there's a couple like they went there with some of the characters that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
I did like the flashback sequence to get the sword and kind of how that all set up.
That was super cool.
It set up like the whole story in a way.
Yes, I think that was really cool.
And the whole Necklord section, just out of left field, was awesome.
My favorite. I know, I loved it so much. Like I didn't want to. And the cool thing is, I don't know if you went back there afterwards to get a character that's on the roof, or he's back up hanging out where you fought Necklord. But that was exciting for me because you get to go back through, and like while Necklord's, that's the one spot where or one of the few spots where you can't use an escape talisman to get out quickly. So you've got to walk through the long way. I didn't mind because the music in that section was so
that whole
good.
area, the whole continent area, because from the village of the not village of the elves. That was also a shocking thing. I didn't think they would actually go through with it.
No, dude, me too. That was the first time I wrote down something about the story.
Warrior
That was like,
Village. From the time you step foot in
yeah.
Warrior Village, there's a bop, and it's like, oh, okay. And then you get to. I don't remember much about the temple, but you kind of have to keep coming back to Warrior Village to
Oh
advance like
yeah.
the story. A bop every time, and then yeah, Necklor's Castle, a bop. And I was like, this
God, so
whole
good.
area is for as much as the music's been kind of samey in the continent, because it really is just like the one overworld theme.
Yeah.
Going into that was like the first time where I made note of like, oh, we got some bops in this game finally.
Yeah. 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 Because everything else, like, it was fine, but like nothing that I feel like I would be like stoked to hear again. Like, I can hear it in my head right now. Like, I know exactly what the overworld theme sounds like when you step back into it. I know what the combat sounds
Mm-hmm.
like. I'm there, but it doesn't like stick with me. Um. Yeah. Yeah, I won't go into some of those. There's some actual like pretty good surprises and like things that happen where I'm like, oh. I will say, without saying too much, the one part that felt a little weird for me plot wise was a fight that you have. I guess I'll say this across this. This is a generalization. Anytime you fight someone in the opposition and win, because that's just what's going to happen story wise, they all, and I mean all of the people you fight in those moments, just end up telling their people like, "Well, join them." Like, it's just weird that was a little odd to me. It was just like, and so like willingly often, but I'm reading too
Like
much into it.
two,
But
I think like well, two of them is the rune.
mm-hmm.
The one
Yeah.
was just like, I'm just got to do my job, and if I'm gonna die doing it this way, I'm gonna do it this way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's fair.
And
Yeah,
then
some of them make sense.
the other one, it was like a dying wish kind of thing, which makes a lot of sense with the characters that were involved.
Fair enough.
Um, but to that regard, the very last like general that you fight, that is in your prison,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they join you just because you need 108, and they are totally like, I'm not fighting, which is
I,
awesome.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I did like that. Um.
Uh, but about those fights, the ending anticlimactic. We were lacking a boss fight, I think.
Uh.
We didn't fight someone. You fought someone, but you didn't fight the other.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. Yeah, yeah. No, we fought.
I was like saving up because I was like, all right, I know that's gonna happen, and then it didn't
Right
happen.
after you defeat those,
Yeah.
you know that there's gonna be
Yep.
something, but like no, that was just it.
Here we are.
Yep. Let's watch all the fading character portraits.
Yeah. That was cool.
Yeah, I did like that. I like that.
You get blanks, by the way.
Do you?
So I think the thing that, yeah, the ones that come up in threes,
Oh,
they do
okay.
blanks if you don't have the person.
That's funny. I want to talk a little bit about visuals. I think we hit sound.
Yeah, yeah.
The music's good. There's definitely some like highs. Um, Visuals, I was so impressed with how many animations there are in this game.
Yes.
There's so much stuff packed into this. And I think it's a trick that Konami did with Symphony of the Night as well, where they really knew, okay, let's lean into using 2D art, but use the power of the PlayStation to just cram stuff into this.
Yes.
And I think that worked so much better than having 3D models.
Yes, you pretty much you saw my example. Final Fantasy VII, one of the most cinematic games, in terms of graphics and all that stuff. The battle system, all at 10 frames a second, and those turns, those pivots, like you get those zoom ins and stuff, but it's like
it's cool.
A crawl.
Yeah.
This game is like snappy, like cut-ins and stuff like that, especially when you're doing free will and you see like your entire team charge at one time, but it like comes in and swoops in and focuses on the one enemy, so you can see the crit happen. It is so cool and snappy, and yeah, that's the advantage of using 2D. It was a little, I don't know. Maybe I wasn't expecting the art style of this game. I think I was a little thrown off. Just like the regular like walk around, not the overworld, but in your towns or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just wasn't expecting that. I didn't mind it. I don't know what I was expecting there. But I did like the battle system. I liked how it did all the animations. It did these in close hits and stuff like that. It was very well done.
No, yeah, I like that a lot. I'm with you. I think I thought the characters would be squattier. I think they felt
Eh,
longer to me in the
maybe
regular like
that's what it was.
um
But again, not a bad thing.
no,
Just
it
I
didn't
wasn't
turn yeah,
expecting.
yeah. Did you know that in the battle screen you can actually rotate the camera to
Nope,
get different angles?
I did not know that.
Did you know that you can only get that if you collect very specific items and take them to one of the characters you recruit
Is that what they are?
and you have a second controller plugged in, then you can spin the camera.
I was getting all those items, and I thought I was going like they definitely seem like settings. I just didn't know that's what that was for.
Once you collect
Interesting.
all, you have to have the. I never did it. I never like completed it. I didn't get all
I
of them. I
don't think
don't
I would
think.
have been able to, honestly.
But yeah, if you've collected all of them and you talk to them, that's how you unlock the option. But you do have to have a second controller plugged in
That's
to
worth it.
spin the camera.
That's
It's so stupid.
amazing.
Yeah, but there's like
Konami
little
and the
stuff.
second controller, man.
I know they loved it. They there's a guy in the place that'll paint a mural if you bring all the right colors of paint.
I
Like
figured
all that.
that out. Well, I didn't do it,
Yeah.
but I was like, that's the guy. All right,
Yeah, I was
definitely.
missing like two colors by the end, and I could have gone and gotten them, but I was like,
I
okay.
started buying the seeds, and there was like one town where I missed it at, and then the guy I stumbled upon the guy I wanted all the seeds. I'm like, fuck. I don't know. I
Yeah.
forgot what town I didn't buy it in. I'm not backtracking. It's fine.
No, but here's the thing that's nice though. I
Oh,
don't
were
know if
they
you
in your
caught this.
shop?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
exactly. So
forgot to check
anytime you
there.
interact with a shop in the world, that's back in
No,
your
I
shop.
noticed
So
that when I
even if you
got
don't buy
like
anything.
when I started to really lean into my gambling, when I got to
Yes.
a new shop with new armor, I was curious if it backfilled, and it did.
Yeah, and that goes for every item around there.
Yeah.
Um the what else do we have? I'm just checking my roundup notes before we close out. Yeah, there's a couple little things like there were some weird text things in terms of like localization that got a little weird. There were others that were like kind of funny. Like you could tell the localization team was having a good time. Like I think there was a White Castle reference. I don't know why somebody was named Zorak, but somebody was named Zorak. I don't know if it was because of Space Ghost or if it was just a coincidence. Um but yeah, I like the like logic of you growing the liberation army and therefore like those big battles you have are inherently easier because
Yeah,
you've
you have a
recruited so many like against the imperial that was cool, nice touch.
I did
um
like the I like when you talk to the townspeople in the probably the second main section of the game where you're trying to get around the poison flowers and the three towns are renamed like very French, and
oh yeah,
all the citizens are like, oh, it's in Premier Armor, and like they were like tripping over remembering the city names.
yeah, little subtle, I like that a lot. um I you pointed that out real quick. It's another thing, like this game does a good job of kind of like blending different like regions of the world all in one space. Like there's influences from different pockets around the world. Like you get like all in one game, like an Asian inspired RPG and characters from that, but also European, but also Middle East. Like it's all over the place. I liked the like blend of that stuff.
And then probably my last thing was I'm usually not one that goes to talks to every single townsperson in a RPG, and that it's had its consequences in the past for me. But
Mm-hmm.
because I knew there were 107 possible recruits out there, I was
Yeah.
kind of like not forced, but I was like, well, this one you could kind of tell the generic models from like a more dressed up model, especially late
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
But like anything that didn't look familiar, you kind of started talking to just to see if a portrait will pop up.
Just if a yeah,
Yeah.
are you one? Are you somebody? Because
Um.
sometimes they do just say like, okay, I'll go with you,
Yeah.
and it was that easy. Yeah. Um, there was one guy, Kirk, that you recruit. I don't know if you recruited him or not, if he was story or whatever, but I just have a note here that says it's a quote from Kirk that said, "All I do is cut off heads. Are you sure you want me to join?"
Yes. Yeah. He was like it was like a double confirm. I
Yeah, yeah,
think.
yeah.
Yeah.
You had to really, yeah.
Yeah. No, I found that
Um,
guy.
he was
Yeah,
good.
because it's on the way to Necklor when there's all the graves at the fortress, and you're
That's
like,
right. Yeah, yeah,
what the
yeah,
fuck's happening?
yeah.
Yeah, and he's just a
Um,
gravekeeper.
I, that's my guy. Come on in. Anything we didn't hit on Suikoden?
No, I think, like I said, I think mostly pros, but some cons. But I'm just glad that this game kind of like leaned into the 108 and made it its thing.
And apparently they all do. Like this is
Yeah,
the Suikoden thing.
I've
Yeah.
seen that in research since, because I was
Yep.
curious what the setup to 2 was, knowing that your save game. And after
Yeah,
like
yeah.
kind of looking into how 2 set up, I figured this was this game shtick. But
Yep.
yeah, and then I was reconfirmed again, and they're all 108, right?
Yep.
Like through
Yep. Yep.
5.
Yep. Yeah. I will say your point earlier about like being on the PSP, I had the same thing. I opted to play this on PSP Go, and the benefit for me is I do have the little docking station, so I could output through component, and I could play on a TV, which admittedly was pretty good. Um, Playing it on the tiny screen, I think this game is really pretty, and you do lose a lot by not having it big and bold. So, yeah, I would recommend if you have the option to play it on a big screen, do it. Um, the nice thing, I mean, it's clunky as heck to do in 2025, but if you're playing on Vita or PSP, you can transfer your save back and forth from PS3. So if you really wanted to do that, you could.
Or there's a remaster that's probably a little bit more obtainable.
There is, and I might get that eventually. I think I still want to play through 2 without. I want to play like the original PS1 version. I'm not crazy about what they did with the art in the
I, I
remaster.
I know you said that going into the episode to if I was thinking about that, look at the art. I
Yeah.
think I would have gotten over it, but I see like playing it through and now seeing it as like yeah.
Yeah.
But I think if I were to play 2, I think I am getting the remaster and I'm getting it on Switch so I can do the back and
Oh,
forth.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. What do you feel like Suikoden is missing?
You see, I don't know what 2 does, and I'm scared to say this. The pace in a 1 is weird, and it all comes into the story, but like at one point it's like, oh, we're going into battle. Oh, we're going into battle. Oh, there's another battle. And then it's when you finally stall out for a second. You go to like France. But like it I don't it just seems like like it's like a lot of like you're in like or you're like highway traffic and you're bumper to bumper and you hit the gas pedal, then you stop. And you hit the gas pedal and you
Yeah,
stop.
yeah.
It's like a very jerky pace to the story. Again, minor thing, but I feel like if this had like this, I don't know, like I said, the story gets there eventually,
Yeah.
but it doesn't really hit the ground. Well, sorry, it does hit the ground running, but it doesn't like keep my attention after like the initial intro.
Yes, I think that's fair. It took me a while to get into this.
Necklord,
Like
I think
I was
Necklord.
into it before Necklord. Necklord's when I was stoked about this game. But like for a while in the first like couple hours, like until I started really recruiting, I think honestly, up until you meet Odessa, the
Yeah,
previous head of
yeah.
the Liberation Army, up until you meet her, I was kind of like not feeling the game at all. And I was like, did I make a mistake with this one by putting this on? Like I'm not having a great time. Then it all started kind of clicking into place and I was pretty happy
Well,
about it.
the thing with Necklord that I liked is it's the first time that the game deviates from its it's what appears to be his formula, because you go to battle and then you go to the battle and you have to retreat because something happens, and then you have to go
Yeah.
find the counter to it, and it does that twice in a row, and you know there's 5, and you're like, shit, all right, is this like the 4? And then you get the neck lore, it's like, oh, there's the curveball.
Yeah.
So that's what like that helped with pacing again, and that got me back into it.
Yeah.
Because the entire
I don't know if it was
time, I was gonna say, because the entire time you're thinking like, oh well, you know, there's a family member,
yeah.
and then it happens earlier than you think,
It does. Yeah. There's a lot of game left. Yeah.
and then it's like, yeah, what do we do from there? Do we attack another castle, and it's the formula again? But then the curveball comes.
Yeah. Side note on Necklord, did you feel like Hicks reminded you of anybody?
Let me look at the character.
Sorry.
Hicks. That's the boy, right? Who names his warrior or his sword. No.
It reminded me a lot of Richter. And I wonder if that was intentional, like that he was Richter
Okay.
adjacent while you were in Necklord's castle. And yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Who was the? It was like Therese. What was the Tengar?
Hangar. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
The Tengar Plus.
I could see that.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like that the swords, some of the weapons were named after people, that the weapons changed names as you leveled them up and stuff. That was nice too. Um, let's rank it. Thefreecheese.com/the list is where you can go to follow along at home, or if you're watching, keep watching because it's on the screen. I don't know, man. I kind of went weird and dumb. So
Okay.
where I ended up on this coming into this, writing down my ranking, and I'm thinking about it a lot. And like my score is not reflective of this. It's a weird one, but I landed at 50, above Ring Fit Adventure and below the Guardian Legend.
50.
Yeah, which I feel like is too low, but I don't know.
Well, I agree. I agree it's too low because my number is 32 between Undertale and Batman.
I think that's good. I honestly think your placement might be perfect. Uh, is Parasite Eve better than it?
I don't know. And I don't say that a lot. Like I usually was like, oh yeah, Parasite Eve. But
Yeah.
for better or worse, it sticks to this 108 plan, but there's so many systems around the 108.
Yeah, and this is so smart. Like everything's stacked, everything works, everything's intrinsic. Like I really like the whole package of Suikoden. Yeah. All right. 32 before I talk myself out of it. So you might pick up the remaster to do two. No interest in just going right to 2 on PlayStation?
I mean, I'm not ruling it out, but it's just so convenient just to get
I know.
the remaster and have it on a Switch.
Yeah, I know.
Because I would hate, because I fear the opposite would happen. Now that I played on PSP, there is some convenience on having it handheld, where if I start on PlayStation and I'm like, oh man, I wish I could take one of these segments on, upstairs on the couch.
Yeah, yeah. There's some cool tools online to convert save files, but it's not always the best. So
Yeah, and I feel like I'm doing all that. I'm gonna just fall out of love with it because of the inconvenience of going back and forth. So
yep.
I'll maybe on sale I get two.
Yeah. No, I want to grab it at some point too. Suikoden. Congratulations, Konami. You did another one. Yeah, I'm happy we got to play it finally. Like Suikoden's been on my list, my personal list for a really, really long time. And just haven't chased it down. but we did it, and it was fun. Next week, we bring autumn to a close, just in time for Thanksgiving, with Animal Crossing Part 4. We'll talk about spending fall in Animal Crossing. We'll talk about really our year with Animal Crossing, and then we'll rank it on the list. So come back for that one next week. And then, yeah, winter comes shortly after. And as does, you want to throw any of them out? What we got coming up?
Yeah, maybe may as well. It's only it's not much time between those episodes going up.
Yeah.
So to prepare Joe for one Requiem come February 27th of next year, we are playing through the train wreck that is Resident Evil 6. Some may say we're going to China for it, you know.
We are, yes. I've been having fun with that one.
It's an adventure.
And it is. The week after that, we are checking back in with another PlayStation classic to join Suikoden and the rest. Fighting Force will be our final game ranked this season.
What a way to go.
Indeed.
It is a greatest hits. It did have a green label. That's the one I owned.
Yes, it was a green label. And then we've got our we've got our end of the year festivities coming up. So we'll have one special episode, and then we'll have a 2-part finale for season 13 where we look back at the year of the games we reviewed and ranked. We look back at 2025 as a whole. And yeah. I can't believe we're here. We're rolling right along, and you're already ready for 2027.
Yeah, to a degree.
That's insane.
Nah, it was more so like I stumbled upon a few things. I'm like, ooh, shit! I got a reminder.
Yeah, you got me thinking now. There's a couple I've been thinking of. I should probably write down. So
yeah.
Oh boy, here we go. If you haven't already, you should make a note of the date that you started that note.
Okay.
It was a fun thing for me to look at when we were looking at season 14, where I was like, oh wow, I created that on January 29th.
Oh, per game or just?
Oh no.
Okay.
I made a note like, I mean, you've broke the record now by starting your list in November, the year before. But yeah. Thefreecheese.com is our website. You can email us at podcast@thefreecheese.com. We also stream once a month over at twitch.tv/thefreecheese. So go check that out as well. All of our scheduled episodes. We usually, if we're going to stream on a Sunday, we'll have an article go up on Friday to announce the date, time, all that stuff. But we usually stream on Sundays at some point during the day. So keep an eye out for that stuff. And yeah, happy autumn as it continues. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks, Konami, for making Suikoden. That was pretty good. And honestly, thanks to Yoshitaka Moriyama for Suikoden. Because if it were not for him, we would not have Suikoden. He sadly died very young, 55, last year. But left us with 3 Suikoden games. He was working on the Ayuden Chronicles games as well. And yeah, I'm looking forward to 2 at some point in my life. 2 is basically 1, but just like double, triple in size.
So Pokemon Gold.
Yeah. So, pretty good. Until next time. Thank you, Matt. Thank you all for hanging out with us, listening, watching. Tell a friend. We'll see you next time. Bye.